So let's just have a brief tour of what you see. I mean, so far so normal, right? Steering wheel, 2 pedals. Signals that side, gear shift here. But let's dive in a little deeper and just talk a little bit about the screens, what they do. So infotainment on these 2 panels, temperature and fan speed for the 2 driver and passenger in the front. You just tap on that, minus set super column and turn it up a touch. I'm also going to take the fan down slightly. You can also get more granular control here, so direction, more control. We also have control over the rear, so they're really getting their warmth from below on the heated seats. Home screen, navigation, music, phone integration. Again, we'll dive into that in a little bit more detail. For the passenger, we've got control of volume here. The driver has control here for the infotainment, so right on the steering wheel. Center screen is not touchscreen, but gives you all the primary information as a driver you need. Speed in the center, obviously below that range, currently expressed as miles. I personally prefer, and I would recommend this, to have a percentage. You'll see it show you percentage. The reason I say that, and you will change it to be what you prefer. The reason I say percentage is that's absolute. The battery has 81%. If we change it to range, that is an estimate in terms of how the car has been driven historically and what the car thinks it can achieve with 81%. It isn't necessarily an absolute number. That will vary. So if you think you're going to get 300 miles and you drive super hard, you won't. But if you drive super conservatively and easily, you might get 325. So to me, percentage on an EV makes far more sense because it's always ever absolute. The needle, the dial, at the top you can see it says charge and power. Anything to the left of 12 o'clock, you're regenerating energy. You're recapturing energy you put into the system and taking that and putting it back into the battery as energy. Anything to the right, power, you're pushing down on the accelerator, you're using energy, putting it into the system, the drive system. So when you lift your foot off the accelerator, you'll see that it goes over to the left. As you push down on the accelerator, it'll go to the right. The harder you push, the more you lift, the further away from 12 o'clock it will be. And if you're doing that, we're going to be doing this. So if you keep it as close to 12 o'clock as you can, that will be a very smooth drive. But every scenario and driving sim is different. You do what you need, but it's a good way to get a sense when you get getting used to this regenerative braking. Persistent driver controls on the far left there. Probably don't need to interact with that today, but we're on auto lights, auto windshield wiper. The bottom row are the windshield wipers, and if you do need to put them on permanently, it's the single line. The double line is high speed permanently on, but the auto actually works pretty well. And if you do need to add an extra wipe, push on the silver button here. So just a single push will do that. A long push will do a wash wipe. That's your signal stalk. So pretty conventional, up, down. It's going now because it senses light. It's on the auto, you see, that's why. Give it a push or push up or down. 3 blinks and it'll go off. But if you push past the point of resistance, it'll stay on until you get opposite lock on the wheel. And you need to manually cancel that. The last things to talk about, the regenerative braking and then controls on the steering wheel. So these are both cylinder switches, so they roll up or roll down with clicks. But that silver bar is also a button that you can push in. So on this side, play, pause, skip forward, skip back, the Alexa system, so voice activation. On the other side, the autonomous driving capabilities. Did you want to experience those, see what they're like?
Sure.
Okay, so to enable that, the silver buttons here on the far side, the far left one, give it a single push and you'll see the display changes. So it's going into adaptive cruise at this point. This button changes the follow distance. Given that it's wet today, we'll set it to be maximum. So that'll show here and here when you're setting it. cars in front of you will show up here.
Okay.
When you enable the system, the speed that you set will show up here, but the speed you're doing is there. So that activates the system. To turn it on, you push down in on that as a button. To increase the set speed, you click up. To decrease, you click down.
Okay.
When you're on the highway, this car has Dream Drive Pro. Long push on that button will enable highway assist. That's where the car will steer for you. To change lane, you'd have to use a signal, start the maneuver, and then when it gets into the new lane, it will take over again. I think lane change and you put your signal on, it'll find a spot and move you over. Stuff like that's going to come, but not enabled currently. To disable the system, just push once on that button. That takes you back to full manual control. When you're in highway assist or adaptive cruise control, if you push down on the accelerator, it will temporarily override, speed you up, and then when you lift your foot off again, it will get you back to the standard speed that you had set. But if you hit the brakes, it'll deactivate the system, and you need to then make sure that your foot is on the accelerator if you need to keep going forward. Also, if you give a strong movement in highway assist on the steering wheel, that will override as well. The car assumes that you're taking control. It's an emergency situation. So traditional pedals, 2, brake and accelerator. The car won't go anywhere until you actually put it in gear and push down on the accelerator. So when you put it in gear and drive off, you don't need, if your foot's not on the accelerator, you're not going to move. You don't need to cover the brakes or push down on the brakes. As I said, when you lift off the accelerator, the car will slow down. And we'll experiment a little bit as we leave in the parking lot just to try that. It can be quite dramatic. There are 2 settings, standard and high. We recommend high, but only when you get used to it. So we'll start in standard for now. Whenever you're comfortable and ready, drive modes are here. So up is reverse, down is drive. Push on the silver button to park. Foot on the brake, put it in gear, and we're going to go off to the right. That's it. There you go. Go nowhere till you push down on the accelerator. And just follow around the edge. We'll go right around the edge.
On the left side?
Yeah, we just stay in this. We'll pretend that there's a line level with that red column, and you want to come to a stop level with the red column. First, though, let's get the seat set. So you have physical controls on the side of the seat, but we also have an extra control for thigh support, where that'll extend the front of the seat out for you. That's only from the screen. Now all of this would be saved to a profile, and then when you get into the car, log into that profile, the seat, steering wheel and wind mirrors will move to your saved preference, up to 5, one of which is a guest, so 4 users. But the seat, is that good for pedals and view out through the steering wheel?
Yes.
Or out through the...
This one here.
We'll do the steering wheel in a minute, but let's just get you set. Now, the one thing I will say about the Lucid is it's probably better to be slightly higher than you're used to, because through the windshield, you need to be able to see that. And if you bring the steering wheel down, the top of this will be impeding your view here. So in some respects, it makes more sense to bring the seat up slightly than bring the steering wheel down. And you can do that by pulling up on the whole of the horizontal button on the side there. That'll bring you up. And then we can adjust the seat, steering wheel. So, steering wheel and wing mirrors are going to be here. Again, you'd only do this one time. So up, down, and then out and in. Feel good?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Why don't we go ahead and do this guy? That's manual. that's entirely.
Okay.
And then wing mirrors, so left and right, and the same principle here. Wait for you to do that. You guys have found the heated seats there.
Yes.
If you touch on the, are we putting them on? I can
Yeah.
also control them here. And then I think you've got control here if you want them. So on the side. See there?
Ah, I see. Okay, so there's more control here. I
Yeah.
see. Got it.
So touch 1, 2, 3, and it'll take you. Yeah. And then the dual zone climate in the rear.
Mm-hmm.
On the right mirror, now I'm not sure where is.
I think it was all the way in. Actually, going in. I think it's mostly all the way up already. I can see the side of the car now. You must be. Yeah, you want to come in this way, I imagine. See the side of the car now?
Nope. On this side, I can see the side of the car.
See as we get to the end there. And then we'll have a little bit of a practice about feathering the pedal so you know how to judge stopping distance. And we'll do it when we get to the long straight at the end. Ring. Just lift any tiny amount. And then at the very end, you lift all the way. Getting it?
Yeah.
Alrighty. To the end and up the ramp.
To the left or
To the right, yes. It's your right of way. It's a stop sign. It's going to be interesting coming back. Just go straight ahead. They're not letting people come across. And we're going to go round to the left. So, no, and over 2 lanes over if you can. That's it. How is it in the back there? Nice and smooth?
Yeah.
how you guys doing?
A little bit. Feels like in a.
Kind of get used to the
Right.
Right? With the engine world.
So we're going to go left at the next light. Just stay in the right hand of the 2 left turn lanes. Plan is to go down to the 280. We'll go northbound.
Okay.
You get a sense of what it's like on the highway. We can try the adaptive cruise control, highway assist. We'll go up to Dianza and come there, and then we can switch drivers there. We can also experiment a little bit with the self-parking, which I will be very upfront with you. You can probably park this car quicker than it will park itself.
okay.
It does well in defined situations. There are other circumstances where it really struggles, and it tends to be quite cautious. So it's can be a little slow. Get the wheel straight before you give it lots of power, and make sure that there's no one too close to you in front of you. So in other words, get into an empty lane. You would be wise to put your heads on the headrest. So whenever you want to give it some power. Very careful with it.
Yeah.
So this one is where you get full power,
Right.
and it will throw you back in the seat if you give it lots of power. It's also a firmer ride.
That's too interesting.
So you can push that silver button, long push, and it'll turn off highway assist where you're steering. You're back to adaptive cruise. So then smooth, swift, sprint. Now, go ahead and turn on. That's
I don't think she wants to drive it.
Oh, okay. No?
Tiff, you want to drive it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Did you have to, I know she have to get used to the pedal.
Yes. Stay in this lane.
We only drive our cars.
Stay in this lane.
We don't ever drive any other.
And then if you long push and hold on the original silver button, okay, you turned it off, so you're back in control.
Yes.
Push it once. Push on the roller button again. And then take your foot off the accelerator.
Yes.
Now long hold on that one. There you go. So now the car is steering forward.
Wow. And now when I turn it off, just press the...
So make sure your foot is covering the accelerator. So push down on the accelerator slightly. And then yes, you push. So this needs to say override. Push down on the accelerator with your foot. There you go. You need to have your foot on the accelerator, otherwise the car will slow down. So you need to practice with the self-driving, or the parking. And then we can take it back to the freeway if you want, or go back comfortable with it. That's it. Stay in this lane. That's it. Perfect. Within a couple weeks of ownership, you're going to be completely thorough on a red curve there. We want to just go past this guy slowly. Yeah, maybe a bit further over to your right. Let's see if it spots one. No. Go on up to that next silver one and just keep it. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
So, hold the brake down. And then release the brake.
You're right. I think we parked faster than the car.
And I think you would have done a far better job than the system.
Oh, it's trying again?
Well, it realised it was too close. I mean, it's doing it, and it's actually made a pretty good job of it. But you'd have done that quicker. Okay, so just take it easy, and we'll go into the right here. Now, so just lift your foot off and we'll stop. So to initiate this, you'd come into here and we would go auto park. So drive forward slowly, just slowly. What we may have to do is go over there next to a car to see if it can see them. Just stay in the right lane. And there goes the rain. So you have two auto settings, standard auto on the windshield wiper and then one next to it, auto high. And you can, whatever's easiest for you. There you go. Lucid recommends in normal day-to-day use keeping the battery somewhere in the 40 to 80% range. Now that's to prolong battery life.
The battery is about 20%. We should charge it. Be on the safe side.
Look, that's up to your personal comfort. We're not going to go anywhere. It will be the whole thing. But this is the AC charging, so that just plugs in there, and the car will negotiate with the charger on electric line. Figure out what we're going to do to get it? Yeah, perfect. All right, let's do this. Let's get it out and we'll show you plugging it in. See? This guy does not want to beep beep. So you set your charge limit, you can set it wherever you want, but daily is 80%, that's where you set it for normal use. We usually keep it about that.